Hi everyone, I'm Anja from Anja Opperman Attorneys. We're a law firm in the north of Johannesburg specializing in family law. Today I want to speak to you about President Trump's Refugee program. Now, whether this topic makes you feel like laughing or crying, the reality is that today, for some families in South Africa, this is a viable option of immigrating to America. And obviously that means that it's got an impact on families in South Africa, and it is something that I need to look at. Now, if the family unit wants to participate in the program together and they're all looking at leaving, then the process is quite straightforward. You can go onto their website and figure out how to apply, and then you become enrolled in this program and you find out the outcome a bit later on. Where it becomes interesting for a family lawyer like myself is where there has been a divorce or a separation, and that is not the case. Now, perhaps mom wants to leave. She feels very strongly about the fact that she needs to find greener pastures for her children. And dad is going to stay in South Africa and feels very strongly that he wants to see the children as often as possible. Now, you'll remember in terms of the Children's Act, when we looked at Section 18 sub 3C and Section 18 sub 5, there is only a list of 4 things that all of the guardians of a child need to consent to before we can do them. You don't need consent to change schools, but you do need consent of all of the guardians to apply for travel documentation for a child and also for that child to leave the country. So now we're sitting with a problem, which means that we're going to court. The High Court of South Africa, as the upper guardian of the children, has a say in this. And we do know that traditionally moms would bring applications to court and they would explain to the court what the benefit to the child is, and that a move like this would be in the best interest of the children. They would give the court lots of information about what life would look like in the new country where she intends to immigrate to. And if the court is satisfied that that does seem to be the case and that mom has a legitimate reason for wanting to leave, normally we have seen that these applications are granted. Remember, that doesn't mean you get them granted automatically. You have to be very careful and you have to have a good legal representative who makes out a proper case in front of a judge. And now, under the present set of circumstances, it becomes more complicated. Let's think at what mom would be doing in this instance. She's approaching a South African court to make a finding that children that are under its care need to leave the country on a refugee program that our state does not endorse. The South African government does not like this program, and it's not going to change its mind anytime soon. It's all over the media. There have been public statements, and we all know how many South Africans, including our government, feel about this program. Now, getting that consent from a court is going to be extremely difficult. When we look at the matter itself, there are also a number of practical difficulties other than the politics behind all of it. Firstly, when you enroll in this program, it's not that clear from the beginning exactly where you would stay, how long you would stay there, what the cost would be of that accommodation, how far this is to the school, whether your child will be enrolled in this school or maybe another school if this one fills up, what the cost of schooling would be, how travel would work from point A to point B, and your situation around your employment plays a big role in the care of the child. Who's going to look after the children when you are at work? It's going to be extremely difficult to give a court all of this information if you don't have clarity about the process yet yourself. If you wait until you do have clarity about that, then the timelines become very complicated, because remember, what we've said is you can go to urgent court and get helped very quickly by the court, but you have to show that you have not created your own urgency. So you cannot apply to a program like that and sit back and wait for months and months, and then when you hear that you might be leaving, quickly run to court. If that happens, you're going to have to really explain to the court that there was no other option available, and that you're not just using the urgent procedure because it's convenient, but that it was the only available option. The most important factor, I would say, is also that a parent who wants to leave the country with a child has to tender proper and practical contact with the other parent who's going to stay here. This becomes so problematic. I have seen moms who say, yes, the child will return to South Africa as soon as the American visa is sorted out. But how is that going to work? If you do a quick Google search, you'll find the articles on the internet that criticize South Africans for telling the US government that they want to flee their country of origin for fear of their life, but then they also just want to come back for that December holiday at the beach and come and visit their family. It's not that easy. If you look at refugees all over the world, entry back into the country that they came from is a tricky issue. To travel freely back and forth between the two is not going to be simple. So how are you going to tender that contact? Maybe dad has the finances and the time available to come and visit in the US, but what about all of the extended family like grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins? All of that is a factor that the court will take into account. And unfortunately, under the refugee program, it's going to be extremely difficult to do that. The interesting thing for us as lawyers is to see how our legal system is developing and evolving as new situations arise and how the courts deal with these issues that come up. It's a brand new thing and we are all watching the case law as it is happening. I would love to keep you updated on new developments and to share with you more information about how the courts do deal with these issues as they unfold. So please, if you're interested, you can like, subscribe and follow us for more information.